Hello everybody, it's Gary Hallican here, and I'm pleased to report that the Marvels have finally made it to Ollie's. It actually took a little longer than I expected it to, but as of now you can go in there and get a full case of pretty much every figure in the wave. At least every figure except for one. So I haven't been able to find Photon at either of the Ollies I've been to lately, and I haven't been able to find her for dirt cheap anywhere else, which is a little strange. I can't imagine that she's in a lot higher demand than any of the other figures in the wave. So I don't know. I don't know about that. But all of the other ones, they had full cases of at my local Ollies. This is, of course, a Build-A-Figure wave, and it builds a version of the Hulk that is not Banner. So a version of the Hulk that probably not very many people want. And, of course, a character that does not appear in the Marvels movie, and most of the figures in this wave are characters that do not appear in the Marvels movie, so that's a little bit unfortunate for this wave. There is another big problem with this wave as well. So this is Carol's suit from the beginning of the movie, and this is Kamala's suit from the end of the movie after they all get new suits. And of course, Carol gets a new suit in the movie too, towards the end. And so they never actually appear in the movie together in these particular suits. And of course, there is no figure of Carol's second suit. And because of how poorly the movie did, we are probably never going to get one. And there is, of course, no figure of Dar-Benn for them to fight against, and we will probably never get one of those either. So your display is just always going to be wrong, basically. If we have these two figures displayed together, that's inaccurate to the movie, right? The best you would be able to do would be to display this Carol with the previous TV show Miss Marvel figure, right? So, that's as accurate as you could get. A little bit unfortunate, but I guess it's only an issue for us accuracy sticklers like myself, right? Some people might not worry about things like that. These do also, of course, come in the dreaded plastic-free packaging. However, both of these particular figures came straight out of a just-opened case at Ollie's, so I'm not expecting any trickery in the way of people having replaced them in the box or anything like that. All right, they did just come right out of a case, but I'm not a big fan of the plastic-free packaging. So anyway, let's go ahead and get them out and see what we think. Okay, so starting out with Carol, there are some good things going on here and some not so good things, but overall I think aesthetically she's pretty good, I think. I will point out that the Marvel Legends now have the pinless joints, which I haven't been too familiar with because it's been quite a while since I've reviewed a new Marvel Legend. I've mostly been reviewing the McFarlane DC Multiverse figures, which of course don't have the pinless joints. So I know a lot of people like that. I guess it does look pretty good with the pinless joints, but it's not like you can hide every joint on an action figure anyway, so I'm not too worried about whether they're pinless or not. So looking at her suit here, I think it is rendered pretty well and pretty accurately to the movie. And I think the proportions are very good on this figure. I think she looks pretty much like how she looks in the movie, I think, so that's very good. My problem here is just kind of a design choice. I think that this particular suit works better in live action than it does with an action figure. It's just too simple, I think. I think it looks real nice in the movie. It looks very crisp and clean, a good design, right? But for an action figure, it is just kind of too simple, not enough detail or anything. If we bring in the figure of her suit from the first movie, right, we see we've got, a lot more gold striping and things like that, a lot more detail on the original suit. One thing that the new figure definitely gets better, though, is the head sculpt. So as we'll see as she comes around again here, there are some angles on the new one where it definitely looks like they were at least trying to make it look like Brie Larson, right? And there's some angles where you would say, yeah, I think that's pretty much her. So it's definitely better than the head sculpt here on this figure from the previous movie. Definitely more accurate, I think, to her there. The other issue is can't get her to put her arms down any further than that. So you can't really have the arms straight down at the sides. They're always going to be sticking out a little there. So overall, aesthetically, decent, right? I'd say it's, replicates the look from the movie pretty good for the most part. So, you know, aesthetically decent, I would say, on this one. Let's look at Miss Marvel next. Okay, for Miss Marvel here, I think I'm again going to have to say decent on this one. The suit is rendered pretty well, pretty accurately. It's definitely more ornate than Carol's suit there, so that's good. More of the gold detail and so forth. But not all of the detail is there. So like if you look on the package, there should be some red in the pieces on her shoulders there. And, some other details that are missing in some other places. And she's also very matte finish, right? Like I would kind of expect her to be a little more sparkly, a little more metallic. If we look at the TV show version, she's a lot more metallic blue, metallic gold there. The new figure here is very matte finish. I'd like to see a little more sparkle, I think. You see on the back there, she's pretty much entirely red on the back. So while there's a good amount of detail, there's, detail that's missing. So I think it kind of has to fall under decent, basically, is the verdict you could give on it. I think the proportions are definitely better than the previous figure, at least definitely more realistic to how Iman Vellani looks in the movie. But for the most part, I think her neck's a little too long here. I think that was done to accommodate the scarf, but probably a little bit longer than it should be. And I don't think that either face really gets her just right, I think. So I think if we look at the previous TV show figure and look at the new figure as she comes around here again, I don't think either face quite gets Iman Vellani just right. I think both of them, the faces are a little too long, maybe. I think she needs a little bit of a rounder face, maybe, to be accurate. And the other thing, too, is the bangle could definitely use some more detail. So it is a lot more ornate looking in the movie than it is here on the figure. So again, I think we've got to fall under it's all right. I think aesthetically, both of these figures are pretty good, but not super amazing. Right? You can see on this one, though, at least she can put her arms all the way down to the sides. So speaking of that, let's look at articulation next. Okay, before we get into articulation, we can see them now side by side here and get the scaling. I think the scaling's probably not quite right. I feel like Miss Marvel should be a little bit shorter than that. Be a little bit shorter than Captain Marvel. She's a little bit shorter, but not much. They're pretty much the same size there. So I'd have to go back and check in the movie to make sure, but I feel like the scaling is off a little bit here. So for articulation, let's look at Carol first. She should be more articulated since she doesn't have a skirt piece or anything. So for the head, we get no look up really at all. Pretty good look down. You can look down that far. We get a little tiny bit of tilt side to side, can twist. Hair doesn't really get in the way of twisting too much. It does a little bit there. So we get a little bit of movement at the head. At the arms, we get up that far, and I pulled it a little too far, and it came right off there. So that, I think, maybe is one of the issues with the pinless joints there. And there we go. Got her back on. So arms go up about that far. So just about straight out. So you saw there we do have bicep swivel. Arms go all the way around. No front and back. And it looks like we have double elbow, but the other one doesn't want to move here. The other elbow joint doesn't really want to move, and I don't want to force it too much. But looks like we do have a double elbow right there, so she should be able to get all the way up with the elbow. But on both sides, it doesn't really want to move. I don't want to force it on there. And then at the wrists, we've got twist and hinge at the wrists. At the chest, we've got the most minimal crunch forward, if you could even call it that. And we've got okay lean back. Not real good, but okay. And pretty good side to side lean. That's not bad. Of course, can twist there at the chest. She has got nothing at the waist, so no waist joint. So no swivel at the waist there. And then at the hips, we've got forward that far. Not really back very much at all. And not quite full splits. She does have thigh swivel. Right there. And looks like double knee. Again, there we go. So double knee goes that far. And looks like nothing at the boots. The foot, we've got up that far. Point all the way down. And I think we can pivot here. Can twist. And there, pivot some at the boots like that. So, okay. She's all right. It'd be better if she had a waist joint. We'll probably be able to get decent enough poses. So Miss Marvel here should be the same, but probably quite a bit more limited as she's got more hair and she has the skirt piece. So for the head, again, no look up at all. Barely a little bit of look down. Kind of twist, not really tilt at all. Twist a little bit, hair definitely gets in the way of twisting side to side. Again, I think her neck is too long here. At the shoulders, we've got only up about that far. I guess if you force it a little bit, you get it straight out like that. Get all the way around. Bicep swivel. Double elbow, so hers actually would move, so you can see there the double elbow going all the way. She has a twist at the bangle here, that she doesn't have on the other arm. And then at the hands, twist, and looks like she has vertical hinges on this hand, but not on this one. Either way, twist and hinge at the hands. So at the chest, she's got no crunch forward, really. Okay, lean back. Not as much side to side, I think, as Captain Marvel there. Maybe a little bit. That side's okay. Of course, twist. Probably nothing at the waist. We couldn't really use it if there was. At the legs, we've got... Can't go nearly as far forward, of course, because of the skirt piece. Not really much back. Splits. This leg, of course, go out a lot farther because of the slit in the skirt. Otherwise, that's about what you're getting. She does have thigh swivel. And it doesn't break up the design too much because the design is mostly hidden by the skirt there, so that's okay. And double knee. Up that far with the foot. Point all the way down. That much twist, so that's good. So definitely more limited because of the skirt piece. Neither of them are, super amazing or anything, but neither of them are bad either. All right, so we're going to look at accessories next, and that's pretty much the failing of both of these figures. Okay, so because these are from a Build-A-Figure wave, the accessories for the individual figure have to suffer so that they can fit the Build-A-Figure parts in there, and I'm not really a big fan of that. But at least we do get some accessories for both of them. So Captain Marvel here comes with 2 energy effects. They are clear yellow. They should fit onto her hands. Sort of like that. And sort of like that. So that's okay. I mean, that's, I guess, decent enough accessory. She does get an energy effect, which is good. And she does come with 2 extra hands. So she has a right open hand and a left holding hand. She, of course, does not come with anything to hold. So the holding hand, you know, isn't that important. They're in there pretty tight. There we go. So not too hard to switch the hands out. So, I don't know, it's okay accessories, but probably a lot more stuff she could come with. And the other thing she does come with, of course, is the left leg for Hulk here. So this Hulk figure would be pretty big if we put it together. So for Miss Marvel, she comes with 2 open hands. She has a holding hand on her in the package, but of course nothing to hold. That seems to be a thing with a lot of figures nowadays. A lot of them come with holding hands and nothing to hold. Well, that doesn't want to come out too easy there, so I won't switch those, but she does have 2 open hands. And then she comes with a Flurkin. So it's gray, so it's not Goose. So it's one of the Flurkin kittens, right, from the end of the movie. And I don't know, it's static for one thing, static figure, no moving parts on it. I don't think the scale is quite right. The kitten is a little too big, I think, to be in scale with the figures here. And there's not really much color on it. It's all gray, all red, and the only paint seems to be the green eyes on the cat there. So it's, I don't know, it's not the best accessory. Like I said, it's static, it's not even Goose, and it's not really detailed all that well. Then she also comes with the body of the Hulk here. So, and it's huge. It's as big as the figure herself. So if they were going to put this in the package with this figure at the same price point, they could have gotten rid of this and put in a whole bunch more accessories, because we still have no Miss Marvel figures that come with anything that shows off her powers, right? I would much rather have had this come with, you know, some crystal looking effects, right, to show off her powers. But otherwise, we just get a huge Hulk body. It is big, though. So if we look here, this Hulk figure would be quite large if we were to assemble it. So I will check at Ollie's. I think they're having after Christmas clearance, right? If I can get the rest of the figures in the wave, you know, real dirt cheap, then I could build this Hulk here. Looks like it would be big. So accessories, again, they are a weakness of Build-A-Figure waves. So let's do some size comparisons. Okay, for size comparisons, you've seen them a couple times already compared to their previous figures. So you can see here there's a big difference between the previous TV show Miss Marvel and the new Miss Marvel. The new Miss Marvel is pretty significantly taller than her, it looks like, and I don't think she should be that tall. And then here is the first movie, Captain Marvel. All right, so again, I think the new one definitely looks better. New one definitely looks more like Brie Larson than the older one does, but the older one has the more detailed costume there. Here is Cersei, just for another Marvel Legends comparison, as I knock everything over. So there's Cersei, so they're all about the same size as her. Here is Farland DC Multiverse Adam West Batman. So he's, of course, 7-inch scale, right? Going to be a lot bigger than your Marvel Legends. Here is a standard 12-ounce beverage can. And then, of course, here is John Cena. So you can see how they compare there. So those are the new Marvel Legends, the Marvels figures Captain Marvel and Miss Marvel. I think they're good. They're not great, but they're good. I think Miss Marvel's definitely too tall, but she's otherwise mostly good. I think, again, this suit, I'd rather have a costume of a figure of the new costume or second one she gets later in the movie. But this one is pretty good. Definitely looks more like her than the previous figure. So I would say these are good, and I'm glad to have got them, especially to have got them real cheap. I didn't pay for them, though. They were given to me for Christmas, but they were real cheap. And, I'd like to get Photon to go along with these, and I'd like to see a figure of Dar-Benn sometime. That's probably never going to happen. So overall, these are all right. Definitely not worth the original full price, but if you get them at Ollie's prices, you won't be dissatisfied with them. So let me know in the comments if you have these figures. Let me know if you have the rest of the wave. Let me know what your favorite suit is for Captain Marvel and for Miss Marvel. And let me know what else is cool, and we'll see you in the next review.